2024, a number rarely highlighted in mainstream Western coverage began attracting attention among geopolitical observers: $87 billion. This figure represented the estimated value of infrastructure partnerships, energy agreements, defense cooperation, and investment commitments linked to India's diplomatic engagements across several Middle Eastern capitals. The scale is remarkable. Adjusted for inflation, the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Western Europe after World War II totaled roughly $173 billion and unfolded over 4 years. The value associated with India's Gulf outreach approached half of that amount within a matter of weeks. Many reports portrayed these developments as routine diplomatic activity. India has long maintained close economic relations with Gulf nations through trade, energy imports, expatriate workers, and technology services. Yet beneath the headlines lies a broader story about changing economic priorities. Rather than relying exclusively on traditional foreign direct investment, some initiatives focused on long-term partnerships and shared investment structures. These frameworks are often designed to continue beyond individual political administrations, encouraging deeper cooperation and mutual interests. India's growing ability to engage simultaneously with multiple regional players is equally noteworthy. Strong ties with Gulf states, alongside expanding cooperation with Israel in technology and defense, place New Delhi in a unique position as a connector between different parts of the region. Whether this becomes a lasting transformation remains to be seen. However, one conclusion is increasingly clear. Middle Eastern economies are diversifying their partnerships, and India has become an important participant in that process. Several structural trends help explain why these developments emerged at this particular moment. One of them involves the changing role of global reserve assets and investment strategies among Gulf sovereign wealth funds. Following recent geopolitical tensions and sanctions episodes, many countries began reassessing how they manage national reserves. Diversification became a priority, encouraging investors to explore opportunities beyond traditional destinations. At the same time, Gulf nations possess vast pools of capital seeking productive deployment. Meanwhile, India faces significant infrastructure requirements in transportation, energy, logistics, and manufacturing. The combination of available investment capital and large-scale development needs creates natural opportunities for cooperation. For Gulf investors, participation in long-term infrastructure projects offers exposure to one of the world's largest consumer markets. For India, external investment can accelerate projects that support economic expansion and industrial growth. Another factor involves technology. As competition between major powers intensifies, many countries prefer flexibility rather than dependence on a single technological ecosystem. India has developed internationally recognized capabilities in software services, digital infrastructure, and emerging technologies, making it an attractive partner. This convergence of capital availability, infrastructure demand, and technological expertise helps explain why economic engagement between India and the Middle East has gained momentum during recent years. Any discussion of these developments also raises broader questions about shifting global influence. Analysts increasingly debate whether economic relationships are becoming more diversified and less concentrated around traditional power centers. China remains an important factor in this conversation. Beijing has expanded commercial ties across the Middle East through trade, investment, and development initiatives. Chinese engagement with Gulf economies has grown steadily, reflecting shared interests in energy security and market access. At the same time, India and China maintain a complex relationship characterized by both cooperation and competition. Border disputes and strategic rivalry coexist alongside significant economic interaction. In certain areas, however, their interests may overlap. Both countries benefit from stable energy supplies and a more multipolar economic environment where developing nations have greater flexibility in choosing partners. This does not imply formal alignment. Instead, it illustrates how modern geopolitics often involves issue-based cooperation alongside strategic competition. The Middle East itself is not merely reacting to outside powers. Gulf states are actively pursuing national development plans, diversifying their economies, and building partnerships that support long-term objectives. Their choices increasingly shape the emerging international landscape rather than simply responding to it. For investors and ordinary observers, these developments highlight the importance of paying attention to long-term structural trends rather than short-term headlines. First, global capital flows evolve gradually. Major shifts rarely occur overnight. Changes in reserve management, investment preferences, and trade practices tend to unfold over many years. Second, infrastructure, technology, and industrial development remain central themes in emerging markets. Countries investing heavily in these sectors may attract sustained international interest as they expand their economic capacity. Third, diversification matters. Governments, institutions, and individuals often seek balanced approaches that reduce dependence on a single market, currency, or region. Finally, predictions about the future should be approached with caution. Geopolitical outcomes depend on numerous variables, including domestic politics, economic performance, technological innovation, and unexpected global events. The story of India's expanding engagement with the Middle East is therefore not simply about one country replacing another. It is about a world experiencing gradual realignment, where new partnerships emerge alongside established relationships. Whether these trends accelerate or slow down in the years ahead, they reflect a broader reality. Economic influence is increasingly distributed across multiple centers of power. Understanding those shifts may prove more valuable than focusing solely on dramatic headlines.